A gloomy palace with 2 rows of bizarre magic mirrors. Each magic mirror has a hideous demon in it. The group of pirates is unaware of the danger around them. When they passed by the mirror, hungry demons suddenly attacked. A cowardly pirate saw this horrible scene and turned to flee. The leader of the man then drew his pistol. The man who shot is Solomon Kane. He is a ruthless and cold-blooded guy. In that era of witchcraft and piracy prevailed, he led a group of pirates to burn and pillage. Everywhere he went, there were rivers of blood and corpses. Little did he know that today they had broken into the palace of the devil. This is where they will die. With the door behind him slowly opened, Kane walked into it alone. When he saw the countless gold and silver treasures on the ground, his smile of satisfaction appeared. But at that moment, the door behind him suddenly closed automatically. Hearing the screams of his men from behind the door, he couldn't see a trace of fear on his face, because in Kane's dictionary, there is no such word as fear. The treasure on the ground was what he cared about. He reached out and grabbed a handful of gold coins. Just then, an eerie corpse sent a chill down his spine. Then the temperature around him plummeted. Numerous black ghosts of discontent emitted piercing cries and hovered around Kane. Eventually, they converged on the frozen throne. A faceless hell hunter appeared. Seeing this horrible scene, even Kane, who was fearless, could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Just see the hell hunter raised his hand. A powerful to terrifying invisible force made Kane fall to his knees. He came to Earth to take away those evil and greedy souls. A soul-devouring sword burning with the fires of hell appeared out of thin air. The hell hunter raised his sword to harvest souls. Unexpectedly, Kane blocked the fatal blow. While the hunter was surprised, Kane broke the window and leaped down. Although he escaped from the hunt, for the time being, his soul was already cursed by the demon. To escape the hell hunters, Kane hid in a remote monastery. He did not hesitate to dissipate the vast wealth plundered when he was a pirate. He also tattooed religious marks on his body, hoping to shelter his sinful soul. However, the priest saw that Kane still had an unfinished mission. He doesn't belong here. No matter how much Kane begged, the priest cruelly kicked him out of the monastery. Kane had no choice but to leave alone, but the road to self-help takes work. Death and gloom were everywhere. Kane is at a loss as to where his goal is. This day he met a group of bandits. Robbers who couldn't grab the money humiliated him in various ways. But Kane had already given up killing. He thought that killing would make his sins even worse. But the bandits had no mercy and knocked him out with a stick. When Kane woke up, he met a beautiful girl named Meredith. It turns out he was saved by a kind family. After some time, they gradually get to know each other. Meredith is also fascinated by this man who is full of stories. Kane had nowhere else to go, so he joined their team. It was the happiest time he had ever spent, but it didn't last long. In this age of witchcraft and pestilence, there was an evil sorcerer. He was a villain. He saw human life as nothing. The earth was covered with death and shadows. A village had just suffered a catastrophe. The scorched earth was filled with corpses. Everyone's eyes were burned out. It was thought that no one was left alive in the village. Thankfully, one little girl was spared. She calmly told how the villagers tried to burn the witch, but the witch's flames backfired on them. The girl's lies deceived everyone, but the attentive Kane glances to see that the little girl is a bit wrong. Sure enough, when he took out the cross and approached slowly, the girl suddenly changed her temperament and planted a mark on Meredith's hand. It turns out she is the ugly witch who caused the tragedy. After being detected by Kane, she became a flock of crows and disappeared into the night. Meanwhile, in another devastated village, something terrible is unfolding. The masked knight pressed a pair of large hands on the bandit's face. For a moment, his face with countless veins protruding, the skin beneath his palm was severely burned. Instead of pain, the bandit had a strange smile on his face. From his dark eyes, it was easy to see that evil had taken over his soul. Sure enough, the witch's mark brought bad luck to Meredith's family. The puppets with the evil power, led by the masked rider, slaughtered Meredith's family mercilessly. They did so with one goal, to get Kane to pick up the knife again. As soon as he starts killing again, the evil hidden in his body all these years will be awakened again. While Kane was on a killing spree, Meredith was already captured by the masked knight. At this moment, for the first time in his life, Kane has found his goal, to save his beloved Meredith. Kane puts on his handsome cloak and leaves behind a battlefield full of corpses. Along the way, countless puppets died under him. At the same time, he also rescued countless civilians, but he still couldn't find Meredith. He went to a crumbling church and knelt to pray to God. There is a fallen priest in the church. He tells Cain that an evil sorcerer controls the neighborhood. The masked knight is his accomplice. The priest finished and opened a dark door in the ground, which was full of people cursed by the evil sorcerer. Those people were kept in the cellar by the priest. Cain couldn't understand how they survived, but the priest pushed him into the cellar in one fell swoop. The priest of the crumbling church was feeding the monsters with the living. The souls of these people are cursed by evil sorcerer. Now they are like walking corpses with a taste for human flesh. The person who fell was fortunate to be Cain. If it were anyone else, he would have been eaten alive. After much maneuvering, Cain made his way out. Finally, he escaped through another hole. Although the monsters wanted to continue chasing him, they seemed afraid of the moonlight and retreated into the hole. Someone threw the priest's head in front of Cain at that moment. Upon closer inspection, it was the bandits who had robbed Cain earlier. Their eyes were hollow, and they had fallen under black magic and became puppets of the masked knight. It's their bad luck this time. They didn't know how terrible Cain was. After 2 moves, several bandits were easily killed by Cain. To rescue Meredith, who has been captured by the evil witch, Cain gathers a group of former brothers, but he didn't expect to be attacked by the enemy at night. After dawn, the puppets nailed Cain's hands to the cross, leaving him to die. Looking at the dying Cain, the masked knight leads his men away with a mocking expression of satisfaction. Just as Cain was losing his mind, a prison van passed by. The hysterical call of Meredith in the cage once again motivated Cain to live. At that moment, Cain didn't know where to get the strength. He endured the pain and broke free from the nails in the palm of his hand. Finally, with the cooperation of his teammates, Cain picked up a life again. After waking up, Cain gathered his men. They followed the sewers and infiltrated the castle where the wizard was. The little girl across the street is the same old witch who left her mark on Meredith. Cain throws a flying knife and sends her to hell. The sound alerted the army of evil puppets. They came out in force. A battle is inevitable. The masked knight was unstoppable. Nettie died by his sword. Even Cain was no match for him. Cain escaped into the castle's interior to avoid the masked knight. Ready to find the evil wizard first, he went straight to the evil wizard's lair. A man was sitting on a throne in the hall. His face is covered with charms that reveal his unique identity. Yes, he is the man who started it all, the legendary wicked wizard. Cain's beloved Meredith is locked up in a cage nearby. Seeing the enemy right in front of him, Cain went to strike, but the moment he raises his hand, the wizard suddenly disappears. It was better to save Meredith first. Cain had just reached the cage when a sharp sword pierced his shoulder from behind. Only then did Meredith see clearly that it was the masked knight. Cain rushed to fight. As they fought, the evil sorcerer appeared behind Cain once again. He pulled back a huge black cloth. In the mirror was a terrifying demon king. Even Cain's eyes showed a frightened look. At this moment, the masked knight was still unleashing his fierce attacks. His soul was sold to the demon, and he could continue to fight even if he was pierced through the chest with a sharp sword. How can this be done? In a panic, Cain grabbed a torch and burned it at the masked knight. With the fire, he was able to kill him. Taking the opportunity of the battle between the two, the wizard slashes Meredith's palm and sprays her virgin blood on the magic mirror. Sealed for thousands of years, the Demon King finally returned to Earth. The most terrible thing has happened. It turns out that Cain was once a nobleman. His brother often bullied him by claiming to be the rightful heir. Cain accidentally pushed him off the cliff. After this incident, he left the castle and became a pirate leader who burned, killed, and plundered. Cain's crime was so bad that he finally got his comeuppance in a plundering. Hell hunters came to claim his soul. Even the hunter did not expect Cain to be able to block his fatal blow. Maybe he didn't deserve to die. Cain escaped and changed his mind and stopped being evil, but his destiny still brought the Demon King. He did not know that his brother, who fell off the cliff, did not die to survive. He sold his soul to the devil and became a masked knight. At this moment of crisis, Cain raised his gun and shot him directly in the head. The Demon King and the evil sorcerer were instantly sucked into the huge magic mirror. In the end, Cain completed his salvation. The devil can no longer claim his soul, but evil will not be easily destroyed. And so Cain found his destiny. A new hero was born. If you enjoy videos like this, please subscribe to this channel to get our latest content. Thank you for watching.